one of these days I'm going to get back to my painting, but probably not today. Chapter 22, the new era, traditionally known as the Roaring Twenties, that decade after everything we've been looking at with World War I and its aftermath. Basically, all of these incredible economic motivators and things that we've been looking at since chapter 16 really kind of come to a head in chapter 22 during the 1920s. At the same time that the United States is going through this period of economic prosperity, there's also this sense of trying to get relief after such a tumultuous period. I mean, think of everything we've been looking at. The changes brought about by the progressives were scary to a lot of people. There was the entire instability of World War I, the concerns about the challenges of communism. There have been race riots we were talking about, and this general sense from some Americans we have to have a return to normalcy, which is exactly what President Warren G. Harding said. So, in a way, the 1920s are this incredibly prosperous and conservative decade. But you and I both know that when you see something like that, there's currents happening underneath. There's those people who find themselves being increasingly ignored because of everybody just not wanting to talk about things. There's the fact that a lot of this economic prosperity is coming through debt spending. And when a lot of debt is being built up, there is this question of when will it have to be answered for? And that, of course, is going to be in the next decade and the next chapter. And it's something I think that you can relate a lot to because you live in an era where there's a tremendous amount of prosperity going on, but you know there's issues of inequality. You know there's issues of disenfranchisement, and you know that there's sometimes being ignored by people. So hopefully you relate to chapter 22. We'll talk about the depression that comes out of this later, but we're not going to right now because we got to get ready for the midterm. Of course, if you're watching this video when you're supposed to, don't forget that Module 2 is closing. You have to make sure you've taken the quiz and that you have done the document discussion group. The Chapter 22 reflection exercise, which is about probably one of the most famous challenges to the whole idea of the conservative order with the fight for prohibition of alcohol, that actually is not due until right before you do the final exam. It would be a good idea to go ahead and take care of it as you're finishing up Module 2. But if you can't, because you just got too much going on, go ahead and take care of it over the weekend. Because next week, if you're watching this when you're supposed to, or this week, if you waited to watch this video until Monday or Tuesday, is our midterm exam. As already been mentioned in previous videos, there's an essay. You must complete and submit the essay before you can even attempt to do the multiple choice. The essay prompt opens, or should have opened, the night that your Module 2 was due. And basically, the essay prompt is looking at the idea of the importance of transportation in the economic development of the United States, in particular, those railroads we've been looking at. So this should be a topic you're relatively familiar with. We looked at it in Chapter 16. We looked at it in Chapter 17. It was a short answer question on your quiz. It's been around, talking about the idea of how transportation is creating economic growth in the United States. So we've looked at some of the negatives in your take-home essay of industrialization. Your essay on your exam looks more at the positives. Don't forget, it should be 5 paragraphs, introduction, conclusion, 3 body paragraphs. Provide evidence to support your theories about how this shows industrial growth or how this creates industrial growth in the United States. And don't forget to cite your sources if you do use outside sources. The multiple choice, like I said, you cannot open it until you submit the essay. And it isn't even available to you until Tuesday. It has to be completed by Thursday night. So that means your midterm exam falls over a 48-hour window. You got to take it between Tuesday and Thursday. With that said, you still only get to one sitting to do it, just like the quizzes. It's only 30 minutes to take 40 multiple choice questions. They're presented to you one at a time, and you can't go back. All of this is in place to protect the integrity of the test and basically to make sure that you are being honest with us. With that said, in other words, everything's the same as a quiz, just bigger. Your browser locks down. There's not a second attempt, unlike your quiz. And the key being is, why am I telling you all this? make sure you study and prepare for your multiple choice before you even attempt to take it. Use your quizzes as a study guide. That is the best thing they can be used for. Remember, you can look at your old quiz attempts by going to the assessment tab, scrolling down to quizzes, click on the quiz you want to look at. There's a little down arrow next to it. Click on submissions. It'll let you look at those questions, and that can really be a huge help as you prepare to take the midterm exam. Don't forget to get that thing done and in on time, because it is a huge part of our grade and it is really kind of the core of our assessments. Good luck, and we will see you again, hopefully after you've taken that midterm.